Welcome to 20 at 10 with Nat. I'm your host, Natalie, and my special guest today is Mairi Campbell. Mairi is a pioneering Scottish musician whose work is rooted in and draws from her personal stories and cultural concerns. She's from Edinburgh and is there most of the time when she's not in her cottage on the island of Lismore, off the west coast of Scotland, where she's joining us from today. Fun fact, she and her husband recorded a version of Auld Lang Syne in 1994, and in 2008 it appeared in a pivotal scene in the movie Sex and the City. She has a weekly gathering called Campbell's Ceilidh online with, as I understand, song swaps and bringing people together from around the world. And in October, she's launching a one-woman music theater show called Living Stone about the history of the island she's on and her family. Please welcome Mairi.
Hello. Hi, Natalie.
Hello.
And hello, everyone.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
I am so happy to meet you and make your acquaintance. Okay.
Yeah, it's amazing how this time has allowed all these threads to kind of come alive across the waters.
It's been really fun to meet new people in ways that we might not have had time for before, as I was thinking about it. Because many people
Yeah.
are on the road or traveling and performing, and it just, while it's
Yeah.
been, of course, a really weird season of life, it's also been, I think we've made the most of it.
Yeah. Good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know you have just released an album called Storm that I did not mention in the bio, but I'm mentioning now. And it is beautiful. I've listened to it, and I think there may be one thing that I'm missing in the story of Storm. This, as I understand, is about an interaction relationship with inspired by a puppet that was touring Scotland. How explain more about this relationship and
Mm-hmm.
what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Who inspired who? Was Storm first
Mm.
or the music?
Well, the music came before the project that was allowed us to attach some of that music to this new project, which was a collaboration with Vision Mechanics, who are a company based in Scotland that make huge mechanical and theatrical puppetry and events.
Okay.
And they had this plan and they got funding for it. So they asked me if I would make the music, or myself and my collaborator, Dave Gray,
Okay.
if we would write the music to be her voice.
Okay.
And she was 10 meters tall, kind of 2 stories high. She a very incredible figure. And the plan was that she would go around the coastal towns and cities in Scotland, highlighting the climate crisis in the waters. And that
Okay.
was the kind of big picture for it. Anyway, it ended up coming to my door to make the music for it. So we pulled some tracks that we'd had that we were working on. We didn't really know where they were going to go, but it was like a lovely mix to be able to bring this. So we had to find tracks that had a certain kind of tempo because her physique was so huge and her steps took ages. 8 puppeteers were pulling her at the same time. It was like, whoa, it's a fabulous experience. Lockdown happened, hasn't happened since. So we brought the music out, and I think as we come out of lockdown, she is in fact going to take to the road.
Okay. Well, for anyone who's watching who doesn't know about this, there's a video on Mairi's Instagram that I saw, and it is a video incorporating this giant puppet, this built made from, it looks like wood, like
Made
like
from willow, like a mechanic inside, metal kind of cogs and wheels inside,
almost
and then
looks
she had a
woven on the outside.
willow woven, yeah,
It is
all
beautiful. It's
recyclable.
huge, and as you said, like there are 8 people with like strings or pulls, and
Yeah,
they would together in unison or in the right times pull on
yeah,
something to like move the leg up, and it looks like this puppet is
yeah,
walking.
yeah,
It's I was
yeah.
mesmerized. Like it is amazing.
It was fabulous. And in fact, it's only the fact that I'm here is because I met Chris Blackmore, who was on the walk with me, and I'd written the music, and I was just holding the ropes around her, part of the team, and he was next to me, and he was one of part of the team. And then he said, "Oh, what are you doing here?" I said, "Oh, I made the music." And so then he listened, and of course he's got a little record company, and he got in touch and said, "Hey, I'd be really interested in bringing out this album that you're going to make of that music, you know. So that's been fantastic. And
That's
then he
amazing.
connected with you, and here I am.
That's true. We are connected through Chris.
Hmm.
Joanna is very proactive and she already found your music on Bandcamp. I'm just going to make it easy on everyone and drop in some links where you can find more
Thank you, Joanna.
music.
Yeah.
Joanna and Nick are joining us from Twitch. If you're tuning in from Facebook or YouTube, go ahead and drop a comment where you're tuning in from. I'd love to see where all in the world people are. And we can see your comments. So if you have a question, feel free to drop in a question. I don't know if I'll get to it, but I'll at least see it.
Thank you.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, so it looks like YouTube broke my comment, but that's okay. You still can find the direct links to her website, Bandcamp, and to the Campbell's Kaylee weekly gathering. Describe that. Like, who's going to want to tune into that? Like, can anyone watching today tune into the Campbell's Kaylee, or is it for a specific type of person?
It's for anybody that just wants to get some live music. It's 2 hours on a Sunday evening in the UK, so probably more early afternoon in the US, etc. It is, you don't have to do anything. I hold the space and curate it and kind of invite friends and colleagues and people I've played with, and I make up a little program, and it's, some of them are professional, some are amateur. And the whole idea is just to try and invite somebody who wants to share something that's resonant for them at this point in time to share it. And it takes with it the kind of cultural framework of my culture, which is called the Céilí, which is another word in Gaelic is gathering. And so you gather, like in this room, like I used to do courses here for 10 years. I had 7 fiddlers and we'd just play and we'd work. And in this room, we would every Saturday night, local people and the course folks would play tunes together. So I just thought that's a really nice way. It's not in everyone's culture, that way of doing things. So
right.
It's particular. It's like one song and then we have a bit of chat and then I do some breakout rooms. And so anyone can come. It's Campbell's Kaylee. It's by donation. Check it out. I just like to create a platform with people who I have friends old and new on there. About 40 or 50 people come. And it's quite personal and you get to know people, and that's what's important, really. It's not really about being great. It's about just getting to know someone and starting to mesh their music with who they are as people.
I like that.
So it doesn't get separated out.
And just seeing your room and your space, it makes me miss being in the same room with other musicians. I miss it.
I know. We've got to get it back. It's
coming. It will come.
Yeah, I know it's coming. It is coming. It is, but it does. It's painful too. Oh my goodness, that's my phone. Hang on.
We have Joanna joining us in Austin. Chris Taylor, how are you doing? He's on Facebook. Tom's joining us from Louisiana. Okay, we've got some friends joining us. That's exciting. Okay.
Hi.
I have a question for you.
Ready.
Hold on, I'm getting a little bit of an echo. I'm going to fix that really quick.
Oh yes, echo thing.
Okay. And oh, hey Nick. Nick is joining us.
Hi Nick.
In Virginia.
Hey Jojo.
Okay, so you grew up learning classical viola, and then I was reading in your bio that then you wanted to learn folk music and how to hold a pulse. Actually, you told me this personally. You didn't tell me this in a bio. So I'm curious about the shift there. Like, what was it? How old were you when you were like, hold on, I want to do that?
I was really young. I was little, very little.
Okay, and is it... There's a question that I ask people that I think might play into this question. I love to ask all of my guests this. And it is, what is one of your earliest memories of being like hooked by a song or being sucked into the music where you were just like, what is this? I love this. I need this. I want to do this. Are those two things combined?
Was listening to my mum play the piano of some sort of Brahms song or something like that on the piano, and I just found it. I remember I was about very young, and I just burst into tears. I was under the piano and I was just crying my eyes out because it was so beautiful and so sad. And I
Wow.
just remember being so affected by it. And then the joy of being at a dance along the road in the hall and the music just kind of lifting me off my feet, like, and the power of that, the Ceilidh dance music, the traditional music. And I knew I needed to learn it, but it was a while before I got my chance to, but that was big for me too.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
so you have a couple of children,
Mm.
and they're grown now, they're adult children. And I wanted to ask a little bit about that. How would you say having a family, like how has your family deepened and pushed your art forward?
Well, it's funny because I did think before I had kids, I remember speaking to my mom and saying, I don't know if I want to have kids because I really, really want to follow my artistry and I don't know if I can do both. And but she was an artist too, and she freelanced up painter, so that was such an amazing help. And she just said, well, you just muddle through, right? So I went, all right, well, we'll have to muddle through. The reason I think it gave me an aspect to, like, I wanted to be a musician, and I just thought I think I can do both. So, for instance, if I was my sister and my family were very helpful. She had the kids overnight quite a lot. We muddled through and we got through fine. And the kids came with us to play for dances sometimes, and they would be literally sleeping in the backstage. They might be. We got flexible about having them around with us in musical settings. And then there came a point where I said, actually, I don't want to have to do that anymore. And Dave got a job, which was a bit more secure. And they've gone on to become artists in their own right. And I'm really proud of that. And I think I'm really happy that they've decided to do that. I mean, this 24-year-old is a singer and pop music. She went and studied pop music and she's just going for it. It's really exciting. So one of the things that feels really rich for me from having kids is being able to sit back and watch their careers and go, oh my gosh, there's a whole thing. So it's widened my awareness of the music scene. Ellen's filmmaking, just beginning a filmmaking thing. I mean, the pressure, obviously there's less time if you're a mother as well. And I mean, in some ways, I thought I was maybe a bit selfish because you're sort of thinking about your own stuff so much of the time and about what am I
Mm-hmm.
going to do and you think, oh, maybe that's, I'm just going to become I don't know if that's right. Well, I don't know, to be honest. I have hoped that if I can just be myself, try not to make too many separations between who I am and what I am on stage, maybe, and who I am as a mum. So it's a bit of a warts and all on all mothering. I don't believe in hiding too much from them, to be honest, because it's too much effort.
I like that. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
And
you for
they're
sharing.
great and they're wise. They're wise to it. You don't have to pretend anything with your kids. Just show up and model your biggest self that you can. And then they just go on and do that for themselves. You don't have to tell them anything. You just have to tell yourself stuff.
Right. That's true. A lot of times I've noticed the biggest battle is in our own minds.
Yeah.
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 Well, so I have a question. So you've had several iterations of yourself as a performer. You've been in a duo with your husband. What over the different seasons of your life, do you miss any of the former variations of yourself as a performer? Do you miss the duo? Like, I don't know. Just curious your thoughts on that.
Yeah. Well, the duo has been through quite a cool process because my husband and I were a duo before we married with each other. So we had that first relationship was a musical one. And we made an album, 3 albums and a couple of shows together. And we still collaborate at times. But we decided not to do so much in the way that was one of the pressures of us as a family was that the duo, I think, kind of went under too much pressure. And we started just kind of pulling out the same songs every time, and there wasn't enough variety. It wasn't really alive. And I started to get frustrated that I wasn't able to be. I felt there was a new thing coming, and I wasn't able to manifest that within that particular framework with Dave. So then I had to make space. I had to make space for myself. I had to pull away. And that was really painful, actually. It was many years of delicate negotiations for us both. But we've done a great. We're still married. We're still figuring it out, and life's good that way. I don't miss anything that I used to do. I do sometimes wish that I'd been a bit more emotionally mature in my handling with people as I moved from one iteration into another. I think that can be hard.
Do you mean the people in
People's
this?
and bands and
Gotcha. Okay.
bands, and when bands are slightly like the Kaylee band that I was with Dave for a long time. I mean, I got really projected quite a lot of my own frustration. I think I put it on other people. I think that's one of my sides that's not very nice sometimes. It's a sort of expectations get high, and then people feel, I don't know, it's just not nice, my shadow. But it's yeah. So, but that's what I've been trying to work on, is accepting everybody and their complexities and go, it's all right. It's very complicated. I can handle it.
Yeah. Do you think, what can you attribute that to? The emotional maturity, I guess. Was it, because it seems like to me, oftentimes the way that when we handle things badly is because we're handling them in fear.
Good point. Yeah.
Does
Yeah.
anything stand out, or do you have any thoughts about that? Wasn't really a question, but does it?
Yeah, no, you're good. It's right. It's to sort of become more aware, try and get a little bit more aware before if I am triggered by something, to try and treat it as like, what is this teaching me right now, rather than spitting it out and throwing thinking back. And my fear levels are at some DNA level very high, and in a way that's culturally, this culture I come from, we have had a lot of fear instilled into Scottish people. I feel politically, Scotland's wanting to kind of hoping that it can find its voice and stand up, but actually a lot of people are really ruled by fear, and I'm seeing that so strongly now, of course, as we all
I think
are.
everybody is ruled by fear at
Yeah,
some level. If it's not a
yeah,
fear of what's happening to us now politically, it's a fear of missing out. It's a
yeah,
fear of regret. It's a fear.
yeah.
We make all of our decisions based ultimately on some kind of fear.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
we get a job because we're afraid we won't be able to eat, pay bills, etc.
Well, we also
I
have
don't know.
inspiration, though, that overwhelms fear. Like there's moments you just go, oh, I'm going to have to do that thing. And it's not come from fear. It's just come from another source. It's not fear based. It's more like, oh, Campbell's Kaylee came out of definitely a little inspired idea. Just,
I don't think
you know,
that fear excludes inspiration, and I don't think all fear is bad,
no.
but completely driven by like the fear that just brings anxiety, that keeps you awake at night, that affects your health, like those
Hmm.
kinds of fear
Hmm.
are, but like a fear of, getting burned by a fire, like that's a healthy fear, you know?
That's true. But
So
a fear of not wanting to be seen, or finding yourself feeling a bit. I think a lot of women. This is a very broad spectrum thing in a way, but my basic thinking is that a lot of women are wanting to be breaking out their skin a bit. They maybe got stuff they feel they want to do, and it's scary to have to do that, but because the fear produces or an energy. It's a sort of moving energy. So I think there's a lot of like anger in women at the moment. They're sort of going, I'm going to do this thing. Oh shit, I'm going to jump off. And
what
create. And that, I just feel that around.
is
I
there
know I've
a
seen that in
particular
me.
thing that comes to mind specifically with women, you think? I know this is a broad
Well, because
discussion, but
I think we're heading into sort of, I think there is some of a feminine rising talk. I know it sounds fluffy headed, but there's something shifting, and women are having to be encouraged. Well, I can only talk for myself. I am being encouraged to sort of just find my find myself on stage and do my thing and
I would
be a little
agree.
bit more outspoken than I was before, maybe.
I would agree, yes. Seeing, and even I have felt it for myself too. And so I don't know if it's just myself getting older and more sure of myself, finding myself getting comfortable in my own skin, finding my own voice, even, or if it is also a cultural thing or those two things combined. But I have felt a shift into kind of permission to be and permission to create and permission to go further and adventure and explore.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. I yeah, and I've come from a I personally have come from a family culture that's been really encouraging of that, and that's meant a lot to me. I actually think that it's almost like a culture of creative living
Mm.
is something to be yeah, it's just really interesting, and the things that have helped me understand myself better has been lately something called The Authentic Artist and Kath Burlinson's work. She's the director in my theatre
Ooh.
shows, but she's quite wonderful.
Is this a book?
Um, it's not a book, it's called The Authentic Artist. It's a collective. And
A
Kath
collective.
Burlinson, yeah, it's a collective that's quite active in Scotland because its founder is a woman called Kath Burlinson, and she and I have been working together for years.
Can you type her
And
name in the private chat so I can share?
Kath, Kath.
I'll
There
share
we
with
go.
everyone. I've been trying to be more active about sharing uh, resources that we discuss
Okay.
in the thread so people can see what we're talking about and reference it later.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. That's a great resource. Well, uh, I'm going to draw a question for you to answer.
Okie
We're
doke.
going to move to our pop question portion.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever used a cheesy pickup line? Do you know this reference?
No,
Like, have you ever hit on someone with a really dumb line?
it's been a
Like,
while.
it's been a while. Has
Um,
anyone hit on you with a very dumb pickup line?
oh gosh. Um,
Do you remember any of
I
them?
need to know. Oh, that I can't. Give me another one. Give me another one.
Okay,
What's the
okay,
next
okay.
question?
Have you ever freaked out at the dentist's office? Like, had a moment of.
The last time I went to the dentist, I had to sit in the car park with my mask on in the car and this app thing that had to go. It's very, very complicated how to get into the building because it was all in lockdown. And I had the app and then I had the mask on. And then they were asking me to go in the room in the back and I had to go through and everything was tight. And then I got into the thing and I had my mask still on. And he was like, you can take your mask off now. I was like, oh God, it's on, off, on. Yeah, freak out. That's the last time as I went in. But I have got a very nice dentist, so I don't freak out at him.
I'm glad to hear you have a nice dentist. Let's see here. Okay, and oh, Joanna dropped in a link specifically to Authentic Artist. I'm gonna put that up.
Oh,
Oh, I'll put it up here
thank
so
you.
people can see. Thanks for looking that up,
Yeah,
Joanna.
great.
And then
Yeah.
also, Chris Taylor had a comment. Some of his favorite musicians are Scottish. I'm gonna throw that up
Ah,
here too.
cool. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Jerry Rafferty. Yeah, Big Country are great music. There's been some great Paolo Nutini, Annie Lennox.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, Paolo Nutini. He's something else. I love his music.
Well, do you have a question for me, or what question would you like to
Yes.
ask?
Well, I was wanting to ask you, Natalie, if you would like to tell me a little something about the last time that you felt you had a bit of a jumping off the edge moment, a kind of a
Hmm.
taking in a and how did it work out? What did you do?
There were probably two moments about a year apart or a year and a half apart that are like step one and step two of this jumping off. And one was at the beginning of 2016 when I took a job, a 9 to 5, as we call it, at a corporate office, a computer job. And I, as an artist, someone who had always dreamed of recording music, I felt like I was walking into a cage and I was very scared to do that. But I also needed to pay bills. And I live in a very expensive city and I I was having a very hard time finding a job. And so I was offered this one job and they raised to my absolute minimum that I felt like I needed to survive in this city. And I took it and I was terrified. And it ended up being really good because I made a lot of interesting connections in the corporate world and ended up playing these corporate gigs that I wouldn't have been connected with otherwise. And so that was part one of like afraid that I was walking into a cage. And then part two was in 2017, about a year and a half later. One of the reasons I took that job was so that I would have money to record music. And a year and a half later in 2017, I broke down crying, frustrated, angry, cursing, having a conversation with God and just cursing and just saying, how the F do people make it in Austin? It's an expensive city. How do artists make it work? And because I was looking at my finances and I didn't have money after a year and a half to record a few songs. I actually was a little bit in debt. I had a credit card debt. I was still paying off my car. I didn't feel the freedom to record. I couldn't just go into a studio. And so I was praying about it, and I felt like the Lord had me print off bank statements and go through and see where money was going and see what monthly, subscriptions was I subscribing to, where was I donating monthly that I didn't need to donate to, how could I paid off my car. And anyways, like through that day alone, I unsubscribed from several subscriptions, and I think I went ahead and paid off my car. I just had one or two payments left. And through that conversation with God, like over that weekend, I think I regained like $500 monthly just through reordering my finances. And then also I got 3 or 4 jobs. And that day, the jumping off moment was praying about it with God, and also questioning like, well, is this what I want to do? I want to do music. Because something has to shift. I don't have the money to do this. And somewhere something has to change so that I can do this. And so the jumping off was just taking a hard look at my finances, I think I got 2.5 extra jobs. 2 jobs where they were official. I'd get papers for taxes, but one was like pet sitting and like coordinating it on my own, and on top of my full-time job, and to be able to save up the money to get in the studio. And the cool thing was that was in October of 2017. By December, I had like 60% of my goal saved. So I'd paid off my credit card, paid my car, gotten up to 60% of my goal to record. I had a budget. And by February, I was at 100%. I booked the time in the studio. And so within 5 months of that day of just committing 100%, jumping off, so to speak, like I was then 6 months later walking into a studio.
Wow, that's inspiring. That's the power of counting your pennies, I suppose, and just getting conscious around money, which is a kind of pretty grown-up thing to do.
It's
And
scary.
it's pretty cool. Well done.
And it can be shame-filled if we're not careful. Like,
Oh yeah.
I'm watching my money disappear, and like I
Yeah.
didn't need that. I don't have to.
Yeah.
So it's and a lot of times
Good one.
artists, I think I see a lot of artists that have trouble with money, and not all artists, but many, and it's not on purpose, but like I do think there is some sort of interaction with money that's difficult for artists. Like I don't understand. I have found myself saying, I wished money didn't exist. I wish it was a trade.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I hear that with other artists too, but like
Yeah.
it takes work to understand and use and save, and
It's
but
been
it is
really
worth it.
interesting. I think the money thing's really interesting. The older I get, the more I want to get kind of clean and clear around it and name it and what do you need and how are you going to break it down and I learned about that from my sister because I'm not very good about it. And she was going, okay, I wanted to earn 40 grand a year. So I split that. She makes curtains and lampshades. And she literally split everything down and she just went, this is what it's going to cost somebody if they want this. And of course, it was a fair bit of money, but at the end of the day, she just got it because she was so clear in her head that was what she needed to ask for. Anyway, I've been lucky with money in some ways. Don't quite know. I don't think about it very clearly, but I know I've got a funny feeling in my tummy when I don't have quite enough.
Yes, that's true.
I get a funny feeling, and then I go, "Oh, got to do something." Right,
It's not
come on
really
now.
funny for me. It's like it's anxiety.
It's anxiety.
it's
I
a
know.
little bit of heat that I feel, like
Yeah.
almost indigestion, just like
Yeah, I've got to go. Oh, I've got to have to make another thing happen.
All right.
Make another thing happen. Oh no.
All right. I'm checking the time real quick. I'm gonna keep us moving so that we honor your time for
Mm,
your. Maddie is gonna go and do another private live stream right after this, so I want to make sure we have time for music.
yeah.
Um, I'm gonna skip that one because the answer is no. Do a fun question. Let's see. Have I ever been to band camp? Music camp? No. Actually, I will say this though. Um, there is a songwriter festival that I have played, and it's in Texas. It's very small. It's like 40 songwriters, and it's 2 days, and it's like 5 or 6 stages, and it's turns, as you call it. There's 4 people on stage and just bloop, 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 for
Mm-hmm.
like 45 minutes, and it's like 40 songwriters on different stages, and then the next hour everyone moves to a different stage and switch people, and all the audience people can just walk to whatever stage they want to. It's a very small town, and as one of my friends called it, it's like summer camp for songwriters. Like, we get to interact with 40 other songwriters, and we get to meet and mingle and play with them on stage and share music with each other. And that's the closest I've come to Bandcamp,
Cool.
is Dripping Springs Songwriter Festival. So much fun. Yes, Joanna, Dripping Springs. Let's see. Okay, music. I want to make sure we have time for music. You are going to share. Did you decide which song to share? And would you like the entire screen to yourself, or would you like for me to stay on the screen with you? I'm
Oh
fine
no,
with either.
you can stay on.
Okay,
Actually,
I'll probably dance a little.
you dad, what we're gonna do? Still can't decide.
I'm gonna mute myself.
I'm gonna do "Darling, Don't Be Silent" because that's what you like, Natalie. So
You
this
can
is.
play something from the album too, if like that would be,
Oh, I'll do the album one.
do the
Just
album one.
it's a short one. It's like a little mantra, and
Okay.
it's from the new album. And it's paddling my water. It's encouraging us to jump into the sea and get cleared out with that lovely salt water. So for all wild swimmers out there. Paddling my waters, swim by the shore, salt away your troubles, my children, my soul. Oh, darling, don't be silent. Let your breath move into sound. I don't care if you scream. It'll help you hold your ground. And darling, with your anger, move your body into beat. I don't care if you look crazy. It'll help you find your feet. And darling, if you're frightened of the change you wanna make, and you think you're going under, make a sound for goodness sake. Oh no, 'cause how can we know the suffering with the silence all around? Oh help me, 'cause I think I've lost my ground. Oh I think I've lost my ground. Oh, darling, don't be silent. Let your breath move into sound.
Yes. I like that one so much. What is this? It was two, right? What was the second one?
Second one was called Darling, Don't Be Silent. Anna, Darling, Don't Be Silent. Let your breath move into sound.
The first one.
And the first one's called Paddle in My Water, Paddle. And it's on the new album, Storm.
Paddle in my water.
I think it might just be called Paddle or Paddle in My Water. And you can get them on Bandcamp link, which is in the link.
The second one was called, which one again?
And the second one was called Darling, Don't Be Silent.
Darling, don't be silent.
And thank you. Thanks, Natalie.
Yeah, I'm sharing the titles in the. I don't have links pulled up ready to go, but okay. And then.
And I haven't really recorded the Darling, Don't Be Silent. I don't think, or maybe I have.
Oh, okay.
Or have I? Can't remember for the minute. You could Google it. It'll maybe be up there somewhere. Can't remember.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right. Well,
I'm looking forward to hearing you and your music.
Okay, I'll play it real quick. Maybe will you mute yourself so that you can unmute yourself when it's over? This is if you're watching and you haven't seen before, it's a kalimba, a South African instrument. Sounds like it's like a finger piano. This is called The Island. He said, honey, you may have angels keeping you in the light. I've got these demons and they're holding me tight. So if you've a moment and can spare me the time, I'm in over my head, won't you throw me a lifeline? 'Cause I'm lost in the ocean, searching for the shore. You're the island that I've been looking for. I hope you let me land, 'cause I can't bear to let you go. He said, love, I'm a man, I've been wandering so long. I'd almost lost all hope you existed at all. But I see you and I feel you. You can't be a ghost. If you're willing to see me, then I have to know. 'Cause I'm lost in the ocean, searching for the shore. You're the island that I've been looking for. I hope you let me land, 'cause I can't bear to let you go. You're my sunshine, my refuge, my peace in the storm. You're the reason I'm seeing stars I've never seen before. I was lost in the ocean, searching for the shore. You're the island that I've been looking for. I hope you let me land, 'cause I can't bear to let you go.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Wow. Magic
Okay.
with that instrument.
It's so much fun to play. Let's see. Joanna found Darlin' Don't Be Silent on SoundCloud.
Thanks, Joanna. Yes, I knew
So
that was
everyone can you can find it on SoundCloud if you enjoyed it.
okay. Great, thanks.
Yeah. Well, this has been such a lovely moment in
Mm,
time with you, and I have really appreciated getting to know you better, and I'm grateful for your time.
mm, thank
And
you, Natalie.
yeah, it's been so good. I hope someday to be in Scotland. Maybe we'll be in the same room at the same time someday.
Well, before then, I think that if you could come and sing a song at Campbell's Ceilidh, that would be amazing. So we should do a little, yeah, come
Now
over.
that we've talked about it, I'm like, this is something I want to tune
I
into.
really, really want you to come and do it. And everybody, you're very welcome. Just sign up to my mailing list and I'll send you out the link every week.
Do you have a
And you can,
link to your mailing list? Where would we sign
I
up for it?
do.
Ooh, okay, prepare
I
everyone
do.
to
It's
receive
in
a
the,
link.
yeah, that'd be so nice to have first met here. Here we go. Let's see. Where's the mailing list link? Where is mailing list link?
And then is there, I'm trying to think of anything else we need to
Oh yeah, no,
mention.
it's in the Campbell Ceilidh. It's in the Campbell Ceilidh link place.
Okay, all right. And I shared that earlier, but I will
Yeah.
share it one more time.
It's there. It's in the Campbell Ceilidh. So you can just go to that page, get that in, and come on in. And it's great. It's like we have poetry and music and song and really lovely stuff going on and a really good vibe. And actually, you're more likely to get work at Campbell Ceilidh than you are with any number of streams on Spotify.
Awesome.
That's the truth of it.
That's
You know,
amazing.
people are just connecting with one another in this way, and then they just say, I'm running this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, and off it goes.
That's
So
amazing.
that's the reality of it. They're not for nothing, these little gatherings. They're proper networking opportunities.
Hey,
Yeah.
Rory.
Hey, Rory. Good to see you.
Well, I know you have another thing to go off to, so I wanted
Yeah.
to thank you and just thank you so much.
Thank you.
And it's been such a pleasure to meet you and get to know you a little bit. And I hope
Yeah.
that we stay in touch.
Yeah, I do too, Natalie. And thank you all for coming. And thanks for setting it up, Natalie.
Thanks for everyone. Give her a follow. I dropped in her links. We also have in our titles here, we have our Instagram handles if you'd like to give us a follow. We'd really appreciate it. So I
Thank
hope you
you.
all have a lovely, lovely time today, and we'll see you soon.
Okay, guys. Thanks.
Bye.